So, should I start my career in sales? That is the question you're asking yourself. I don't know the answer yet, but let's go into if you have the right mindset to get into sales. Okay, a lot of people think that sales is about putting pressure on people, making people not taking no for an answer, being really quick on your feet or clever. Look, good sales, good salesmanship is becoming an expert in the thing that you're selling and helping guide your customer into making a good decision for themselves and their wallet and their pocketbook. So making a good deal. A good deal is when both sides at the end feel great. If someone's got buyer's remorse or the deal doesn't make you money, then, if the salesperson in the company doesn't make money or the customer has buyer's remorse, then the deal wasn't really that great and it's not going to be replicated. So a good salesperson wants to replicate these deals. It means that the deal makes them money and it makes the customer satisfied. So that kind of idea that you want to be putting pressure on people is not what it takes to get into sales. So what does it take to get into sales? How do you know you're ready to get started in sales? I think it starts with your mindset. If you're ready, if you feel like if you're in your hourly or salary job and people around you making the same money as you and you're doing more of the work, then maybe it's time to start thinking about sales. There's a study on the sales industry, and it was found that roughly 10 to 15% of all salespeople in sales make between 70 and 80% of all the commissions. So this means in sales, you're not in a situation where the person next to you is making the same money as you, but doing a lot less of the work, or you're picking up their slack. I used to work in corporate and I know this feeling, or when I was younger and I worked hourly, of you're the one that went the extra mile, did the extra stuff, took ownership of your work. And a lot of times you were picking up the slack for other people around you that weren't quite doing as good of a job. Yet you were still making about the same amount of money per hour. Look, in sales, you're not going to find that. People are not going to be making the same. You are going to get paid what your skill set is, which that is a scary concept for a lot of people that have that salary or the hourly wage. Is they don't really know, will I have success? They understand that, okay, I'm going to make what I'm worth in sales, but I'm new to it. So does that mean I'm not going to make any money for a while? In another video, I'm going to talk about how we can find a sales job that for a new salesperson that sets them up for success. But right now, we need to know if this is even the right industry for us to get into. So step one is, do you feel like you're the one at your office or your shop or your workplace where you're putting in almost all the work, but you're making the same money as everyone else? And you don't see that drastic career expansion in your future. So this might be one of the reasons why you may be considering making the jump into sales. So if you feel that way, I would say that's step one. Okay. Now, one thing I think that you need to this is a mindset thing that you should overcome before you consider getting into sales. And that's the fear of no, the fear of rejection. Are you someone that's afraid to hear the word no? Then sales might not be for you because you're going to get a lot of no's. In fact, you're getting a lot of no's from the people that are ultimately going to say yes from you. So being afraid of rejection or being afraid of the word no is something that you should be able to overcome or already overcoming before you consider going to sales. Give you an example. Are you afraid of confrontation, of having a conversation with someone that might be difficult, or you put off difficult conversations with people just because you don't want to get bad news or hear them say no. If you shy away from confrontation, then you're someone that's afraid of the word no. You're afraid of rejection. And you should look to try to overcome this or be mindful of this before you consider a career in sales, because you're going to have difficult conversations if you want to be a successful earner in sales. Okay, so we're not afraid of the word no. We know that we want to make what we're worth. All right. You've afraid to speak in public? You might not view sales as a public speaking gig, but you are speaking in front of an audience. It's just a newer salesperson, your audience might be just you and the customer, but you are at a level of, it's almost a level of performance art sales. You're putting on a show. It's not that what you're doing is fake. It's what you're doing is you're trying to keep their attention. And by keeping your attention, you have to be a little showy. You have to have some showmanship. You have to be willing to perform in front of people, to speak in front of people. So if you have that fear of getting up and doing karaoke or talking at a meeting at work, so if you're not looking forward, if you're asked to present something at work or talk in front, deliver a speech in some situation, if those things have always made you nervous, you should work on overcoming that before you can think about getting into sales. So we've got public speaking, which that's one of the people's biggest fears. One of the reasons why most people don't get into sales is there is that level of public speaking, being afraid of confrontation, being afraid of the word no. Most people feel like they should earn more than what they make. So that's usually an easy one. That's why a lot of people think that they want to get into sales. But they've got some other things to overcome before they even consider making the change, because you are going to be in a situation where you need to earn, you need to have success to make money. You can't just show up every day like an hourly job where you show up and someone's got some tasks lined up for you. This is something where you're gonna have to create your own tasks, you're gonna have to accomplish your own things to make the money you need to make. So the last thing, and this is one that I feel like most people struggle with, is I hear this a lot from entrepreneurs, and I have to help them overcome this mental block that they have. I don't want to be too salesy. I hear that a lot. And why would you get into sales if you don't want to be too salesy? Now, I understand what people are trying to say. They don't want to be a crook. They don't want to be inauthentic. Don't want to be corny, which is, I agree. You do not want to be a cornball or cheese ball, or you don't want to be a liar. You don't want to be a crook. But the idea that you're associating this with sales is in itself a mental block, that you think sales is something that it isn't. You think that what it usually tells me is the person is going to deliver a presentation and then leave them alone, which is not sales. Sales is more than just giving a presentation. Presentation is essentially a form of marketing. Maybe you should get into marketing, not sales, if you don't want to push and persuade and overcome objections. So the idea that you're just going to say, here's my product, this is how much it costs, let me know if you want to buy. That is not sales. And that's the biggest hurdle that most people need to overcome to get in the sales industry, is to want to be salesy, want to push, be willing to make the situation a little uncomfortable for everyone involved. Because here's the thing with objections, and I talk about this in other videos, objections a lot of times are the customer's way of making you prove to them that you really mean what you're telling them, you really mean what you're selling them. That whole hour-long presentation that was phenomenal, is it legit? Prove it to me. Overcome my objection. So if you think that you can just deliver a presentation, give them a price, sit back, wait for the phone to ring, then you're not ready to get into sales. Now, if you've checked all those boxes, tune into my next video, because I'm going to teach you how to identify a sales job that is going to set you up for success, especially if you're new to your career and you need a little bit of support from your employer. So again, this is Ryan of Selling University. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. Hopefully you got some value from it, but you definitely don't want to get the next one because I'm going to teach you how to identify a great sales job.